Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge. My name is Howard Pinsky, Senior XD Evangelist here at Adobe, and I hope you're all doing well on this morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. If you are tuning in live here on Behance, let us know who you are and where you're tuning in from. And if you are on YouTube right now, head on over to behance.net/live/Adobe Live so you can chat along and have a good time. We've got a lot of people in the chat right now, including Patricia and Ruben and Igor and Suyog and Ewan and Raphael and Ed and Nicole and Jonathan and Anna and Lamont and Michael, who just found Adobe Live and it's his new home apparently, which is amazing. Aisha and Mary and One Sock Wonder, Kareem, Gabrielle. I can go on and on forever. We've got Ali from Iran, who's tuning in for the first time today as well, which is really exciting. Nicole from Oregon and Joss. Great to see all of you. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're staying safe. Hope you're staying indoors when you can. Washing your hands. We're going through some stuff, but we're going to get through it. We're all going to get through it together. So, again, welcome to the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge. Today is day number 2, and we are going to dive into things. So, let's see. We got Sherry from Los Angeles and Suyog from Suyog. It's 2:30 in the morning over there. What are you? Thank you for tuning in. But what are you doing awake at 2:30 in the morning? We also have Scanned from India as well. It is late over there. Go sleep. I appreciate you joining me all, but I'm in bed by like 9 o'clock at night, playing Animal Crossing, and I'm passed out. That's it. 2:30 in the morning. Maybe it was like 18. But anyways. Behance.net/challenge/XD. That's where you're going to go to find out all the information about the Daily Creative Challenge. And we are on day number 2. But if you haven't signed up yet, definitely go ahead and press this lovely big blue button at the top. That way you're notified when new challenges are released. Now, if you're brand new, how does this whole shindig work? Well, every single day you're going to receive a challenge, at least Monday to Friday, except this Monday, which was the kickoff stream. And we do these all the time. So I'm going to be doing this for the next 2 weeks. And then after that, we're going to have another host and then another host. And then I'm going to be back in May at some point. Good stuff. You can also join us in our community chat, which is on Discord. And here's our Discord server. We have about 40,000 members and designers in Discord. It's crazy. A lot of cool people in there. We've got all of our information about the daily challenge, which I'll get to in a moment. We've got feedback channels. So if you're participating in the recent challenge, dive in there. Submit your work. I've been in there on and off as much as I can today, giving some feedback to all of you amazing people who have been designing yesterday's theme, which was to create a navigation bar for this dashboard. And I'll get to that in just a moment. If you have questions, share tips and tricks, a lot of cool stuff in here. Dive in there, have some fun, and connect with the community. It's a great place to connect with. You can also watch us daily. I am live at 2 o'clock Pacific time, just about every single day except Saturday and Sunday. And then you're going to share your work on Behance and Discord. If you are sharing on Behance, use the hashtag XD Daily Challenge. That way we can dive in, search, and it'll be a fun time. All right. So yesterday we explored the world of plugins in Adobe XD and we created a navigation bar for our dashboard. And as I mentioned yesterday, we're doing a progressive challenge because I know some of you have been wanting to do progressive again, and this is what we're going to be doing over the next 2 weeks. At the end of it, you'll have a nice portfolio piece that you can use as a case study. And Val is just making all sorts of mistakes in there, I think. I don't know what's going on in the chat, but thank you, Val, for moderating and doing whatever you're doing in there. And today we're going to be taking a look at ContentAware Layout, one of the newest features in Adobe XD. It's going to save you a ton of time when you're designing. And we're going to continue building out this dashboard, and we're going to be designing a call to action header group for a desktop dashboard. So with that being said, I'm going to hop into Adobe XD. Or make sure to download the sample file. Now, let me talk to you about this for a second. Val says, listen, Howard, if you are participating every single day throughout this challenge, you can just use the file that you've been working on yesterday. If you're brand new to this and you just want to dive in today and you don't want to really work on the navigation bar, I would recommend you do. But if you don't want to, you can go to the Get Started link. You can download the Catchup file, which looks something like this. So we have all the challenge prompts, all that fun stuff that I went over yesterday. And then here we have our dashboard. So you can download this and catch up if you want to, or you can use the navigation bar that you started yesterday. All right. So today, what are we going to be talking about? We're going to be creating some sort of a call to action header at the top, somewhere in this area up here. And really, you know, when you land on this page, you might want some key information about whatever it is you're designing your dashboard for. And I would really encourage all of you to explore some interesting topics, whether it's burritos or gaming, financial. I saw some really cool, interesting ideas in Discord. So definitely, you know, use your imagination and go crazy with it. I'm going to be designing a dashboard all about burritos because burritos are amazing. And here we go. So what we're going to do is I'm going to hide my guides because I don't need those right now. And I'm going to start very simple. I'm going to grab my rectangle over to the left, and I'm simply going to just drag out a box. Now, you know, I might want to leave a little bit of room. I'm going to drag out a box somewhere about here, right? I'm going to leave a little bit of room on the right-hand side because throughout this challenge, we may add some additional information over here, like an additional column with some interesting things, who knows? And I'm also going to leave a little bit of room at the top here because we also might include a search bar at some point. Maybe we'll animate the search bar. I don't know. Maybe I'm just dropping hints throughout this thing. And someone was asking, what's the artboard size? This one is 1519 by 1097. I have no idea why I created it that size, but I would encourage you to do like 1920 by 1080 or 1280 by 720, something desktop-ish, like 16 by 9, right? I'm not sure why it's that size. I'll probably resize it at some point, and here we go, right? So, Avi is saying burritos, LOL. Yes, burritos. Now, to match the style of the navigation bar, I'm going to simply just round out the corners of this header, just like this. I'm going to grab the little handle on the inside and just whoop, pull it inwards a little bit, right? Now, of course, this navigation background is about 28 pixels for the corner radius. I could hop in here, just do 28, and I've got nice, consistent corners, right? And of course, if you want to experiment and do completely flat corners, you can totally do so. Have fun with this. I would encourage you, if you are familiar and comfortable with Adobe XD and design in general, go crazy with this thing. It doesn't have to look like mine, right? All right, so Eric is asking, you mentioned last week about more XD to code integration. Can you talk more about that? I can't. All I can say is that the team is exploring things on how to bridge the gap between designers and developers. Don't know when any of that's going to come out or what exactly it is. I'm not really privy to some of that information, so that's kind of where we're at. All right, so we've got our header just like this, right? And now we want some information inside of it. Now, one thing someone missed, did I do a boop? I don't remember, but I will get to one. One thing I might want, just kind of liven this thing up a little bit, is an illustration. So I'm going to go over to my plugins panel right down here at the bottom left-hand corner of XD. We explored plugins yesterday. We're going to grab one more time. And you know, we've got some great plugins. Undraw is a great one for illustrations, but there's a brand new one. I'm going to press the plus button. I'm going to go to Browse, and I'm going to go to Most Recent right over here. And there's a new plugin, fairly new plugin, called Humans. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but I believe it was created by my good friend Pablo Stanley, who created all these amazing illustrations. So I'm going to go ahead and install this. It's doing its thing. It's installing. There we go. And we now have the plugin installed in the plugins panel. Lena's saying, when is the X update coming? Howard, yes. Yeah. There's a good chance it's coming, whatever it is. Just who knows when. I don't know. All right, so we've got these great illustrations that we can use throughout our project. Very colorful stuff. And let's go ahead and choose. Oh gosh, there's a lot of interesting illustrations here. I don't even know which one to choose. This guy looks like he's on a mission. So I'm gonna go ahead and choose this. It's copied to my clipboard, and I can simply boop, paste. There's your boop. Boop, there we go. All right, that's the best pronunciation you've ever made. Maybe. It might be. So I'm going to go ahead and place this guy somewhere right about here. I might want to shrink him just a little bit. And just to add a little bit of depth to this, I can just kind of have him popping off the side over here, just to have a little bit of fun with this. And what's nice about these illustrations, also the ones from Undraw, is that they're all vector-based. So I can dive in here to this group, or I can hold down my Command or Control key and then click, and I've got the individual layer selected. And what that allows me to do is change the color. So if I wanted to, I can just use my eyedropper tool, shortcut key I, and just sample a color, right? I can do the same thing for this sleeve, sample a slightly darker color because it is a little bit further back. And if I want to change the pants, I can do that, right? Maybe I'll just go for like a, I don't know, something like this, a nice khaki. This guy looks like he would wear khakis, right? Do you wear khakis? I don't wear khakis, but this guy's rocking those khakis. So we've got our little guy at the top. He's kind of strutting along, don't know what he's doing, but we're running with it, and he kind of matches the aesthetic of the navigation bar over to the left. I'm going to move this over just a touch. And eventually, you know, we're going to put a search bar right about here to kind of line everything up. Marco's asking, how's the plugin spelled? It's humans with a bunch of A's. If you hop into, it's one of the most recent plugins, and here it is right here. Humans with a bunch of A's illustration. Go ahead and download that. Great plugin, great illustrations. Good job, Pablo. All right, now over here to the right, we might want some text to kind of explain what this particular CTA is. So I'm going to grab my text tool and I'm going to type out, let's say, your weekly report, right? Now, there's a lot going on with this text. There's a lot wrong with it. So the first thing we might want to do is left justify it. So I'm going to just press the left align button, just like that. And I'm not really digging the typeface in this particular case. This is going to be the header. So I want to really stand out. So I'm going to use, instead of Sophia Pro, I'm going to use, let's say, Rift. And maybe I'll go Rift Soft. No, maybe Rift. Just Rift in general. And I'm going to bump the weight up to bold. That'll really make this start to stand out. And then maybe to really punch it home, I can change the color of the text. Just a little bit darker, right? And if I needed to, I can adjust the line height, a lot of different things. And what's nice, if you're brand new to Adobe XD on point text, you've got this lovely little handle right at the bottom. You can pull it up, pull it down to make the text bigger or smaller very easily, right? Something like this. And of course, if you want to add extra color, you can always sample a color here. That actually doesn't look too bad. I might run with that. We'll see what happens. So this is our weekly report. And again, this is all about burritos because of course it is. So I'm going to grab my text tool one more time. And instead of a point text, I might want an area text. So I'm simply going to just drag out a box just like this. Now this is going to be way too big. So I'm going to drop the size quite a bit. And I'm going to write out your burrito consumption. Aha, I spelled it right. Increased by 29% or whatever, right? Something like that. Now, here's another new feature, right? You got this area text. All you have to do if things are kind of falling off, you just double click on this little point here. It's highlighting in red. It's basically yelling at you that there's text underneath there. Double click and it'll just automatically expand. But of course, there's more wrong with this text. We probably don't want all caps. We don't want that. So I'm going to go to Sophia Pro and I'm going to maybe drop the line height just like that. And you probably don't want bold for this particular case, so I might just drop it to, let's say, medium. And I can just adjust this like that. Now for this one, we'll probably want to go back to a darker font like that. That looks pretty good. I'm going to double click to make that nice and tight. And there we go. Everything's looking pretty fancy. All right, now there's one more thing we might want to add for this header section. A button, right? To see more details about our burrito consumption, which is off the charts, but you know, when you can order burritos and have it delivered to your house, you just do it sometimes. So I'm going to grab my rectangle and we are going to draw out a button just across here. We want a nice big button so that we can see it and we know exactly what to click on. Cars is asking what font is the title. That is Rift, R-I-F-T. I believe it's available on Adobe Fonts. Now for this button, because we're going with very curvy lines, a lot of rounded corners, we're going to do that as well. We probably don't want, let's try it out. We probably don't want to go 28, which is the corner radius of all the other elements. Because it's a smaller button, 28 just looks very drastic. So we're going to just pull it back a little bit. Just like this. Just pull it back a touch, right? And then we could go ahead and sample one of these colors up here. Turn off the border. We probably don't need that. Maybe I'll just make it a little bit thinner, just like that. And now we have a nice button. We can pull this inwards a little bit if we wanted to. And now inside of this button, we want some text to tell us what will happen when we do press this button. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my text tool one more time, and let's go ahead and type out view details. And we'll probably want to change this color to white, and we'll go for a nice bold weight so that it's a nice call to action, right? And of course you can experiment with the different typefaces. You can try Rift and see what that looks like. I think it's a little bit too condensed for a button like this, so I'm going to actually go back and do something like this. Just use Sophia. That looks pretty good. And I'm just going to make sure to kind of space things out a little bit, right? And of course, there's a lot of white space over here. I think someone's pointing out the white space. You can definitely, I would encourage you to explore what you're going to do over there, but we're going to put something over there in just a moment. So we've got this button here. Everything's looking pretty good, right? Now, let's talk about content-aware layout for a second, because I think that's one of the coolest features in XD right now. And it'll save you a ton of time, right? And here's what life it was like before content-aware layout. You've got a button here, and we all know about, well, maybe not all of us, but many of us know about components. And let's start there. We've got our button background. We can also select the text layer, and then over to the right within our properties inspector, we can create a new component. You can also do that in your assets panel. If I hop over here, this is the button right at the bottom left. You can create a component right here as well. I can just go ahead and name this button, right? Great. And the benefit of components is you can, drag out additional ones. You can edit the master components so they all stay up to date. You can override them. You can create states, a lot of different things, which we will be exploring in future challenges. So what's the benefit of content-aware layout? Well, before this magical time arrived with content-aware layout, if you wanted to change the text of this particular button, let's say you wanted to change it to view burrito consumption, right? You would have to do this, view burrito consumption. I don't know how to spell it, doesn't matter. We can't even see it, right? Then you have to go into the background layer, you have to enlarge it, and I don't know what that says, but there's a lot of different steps you have to take in order to change just this button. Nobody wants to deal with that. So what we're able to do now is with the components selected, you can also do this with an entire group, which I'll show you in just a moment. Over here to the right in the properties inspector, you have your padding option. When you turn that on, it's going to activate content-aware layout. And essentially what's going to happen is XD is going to look at the relationship between the topmost layers and the background layer, which is the one at the very back, in this case, this container, this pill-shaped container, and it's going to automatically set padding. So, right now it's 21, 27, 19, 27. You could, of course, if you wanted to, let's say 24 pixels on each side, you can very easily just do that, and it adjusts nicely. Now, everyone, Joss, I don't know what that says. I don't know either. Now, the big benefit of this is that they auto resize. So if I just dive in here, view burrito consumption, right? So it automatically resizes as you're designing. And you're going to see in a moment, it's not just buttons, it's many other things as well. All right, so we've got that done. And make sure this is looking pretty good. Perfect. Maybe I'll just make sure to center all of this stuff on my document. And there we go. And you can also, on padded groups, you can hold down your tilde key and you can adjust individual sides just like that, or you can hold down tilde and alt and just pull these out a little bit if you wanted some extra spacing, just like that. All right. Now over here to the right, maybe this isn't the only card. Maybe we want some additional cards that we can cycle between. So we might want some sort of an indicator up here that you can, toggle, or just let you know how many cards are in this set. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Eric is asking, what do you use for that zoom? So that's just a part of Mac OS. You just hold in accessibility, you can turn it on, then you hold down control and you can just zoom in and out. So over here to the right, we might want 2 arrows and maybe a number counter of some sort. So I'm going to turn on my grid just for a second, and I'm going to very easily create an arrow just like that. This one might actually go for the pink color that we're using. I'll just sample that color here. Right. I'll make this a little bit thicker, just like that. Turn off my grid. And I did that with the Command or Control apostrophe shortcut. I'm going to zoom in here. So we've got one arrow there, and we might want another one on this side, but I'm going to go ahead and flip it over here to the right, just like that. Boop. And maybe just drop the opacity, because that's letting you know there's nothing back there. So this is the first card of additional ones. Hey, Kate, welcome. I should have done Boba, probably, just for Kate. Now, I might also want to kind of show off how many different cards there are. So very simply, I'm just going to do, let me change the text color, just like that, 1 of 3. Now, I'm not really digging the Rift typeface in this specific case, so let's go for Sophia Pro one more time, just for consistency, and make sure everything lines up. And of course, I want to zoom in and out just to make sure things are looking pretty good. I'm going to go, let's go for medium possibly. That looks okay. Now I can make sure that I have all of this stuff grouped, so Command or Control G, and this will be just numbers, for example, something like that, right? And I'm just gonna make sure everything looks pretty good. I might want to just bring these in a little bit, just to make them a little bit more squishy. All right, it's fine. I might revisit that a little bit later and make some tweaks. But what I wanted to show you is that in addition to buttons, ContentAware Layout also works with any sort of group, right? So let's say you wanted to make this entire thing responsive. Here's what we're gonna do. What we're gonna do is we're gonna select all the elements inside of this section, right? So we've got our background, let's say card background. I'm gonna hold down Shift and I'm gonna click on the first one, now that I have the last one selected, and just pop those into a group. So I'm gonna do Command or Control G, and we've got our card, right? Here we go, card's looking great. Love the colors, things are looking fancy. Now, over to the right, just like we could with components, we can also activate padding on groups. So it doesn't have to be components, it can also be groups as well. So I'm gonna turn that on, and again, it's gonna look at the relationship between all the layers at the top and the background layer, which again is the very last layer, and it's going to automatically set padding. Now you're noticing there's some weird funky stuff going on, right? We've got negative padding, and that's because this little guy over here is actually pushing the bound. So ContentAware Layout also works with negative padding. And what's nice about this is if I grab this group here, I can just extend this outwards and it automatically makes that bigger. I can also move this down, or if I make this guy bigger, right? Everything kind of moves with it. It's gonna save you a ton of time, but it can get even better, right? I can grab this guy, and this is getting a little bit advanced, but maybe it'll give you some inspiration. I can grab this guy here, maybe the button as well, and the background. Put that all into a group. Put it at the back. I'm just gonna call it background. It doesn't have to be called background, but you can do that. And now basically all of that is part of the background. So if I grab, let's say, this text layer, and I just move it, okay, that wasn't supposed to happen. That's awkward. I'm gonna turn off responsive resize, right? And I can go ahead and select this. What a moment on Adobe Live. I'm gonna go ahead and select him. I'm gonna go ahead and dive in here, right? So I've got response. I can make sure that fixed width and height is turned on. And now, right, I can make sure he stays to the bottom. Make sure I select. Oh, this is fun, isn't it? There we go. I missed it. Where did it go? I don't know what I just did. I'm just completely thrown off. But you can basically, as long as the button is in the group and you can make sure it's fixed to the bottom, it looks like it is. The background, there we go. Fix it, yep. Now I'm completely thrown off. But you can get really creative with some of this stuff. I don't know what just happened, right? Let me actually backtrack out of there. And I'm gonna move him out of the group. I'm gonna undo, move him out of the group, because that clearly threw things off. I'm gonna put the button in a group, move that to the back. This is the background. And now, did I add the button in there? I don't know what I just did. What is happening? I don't know. Things are happening, and you know, I'm gonna actually turn off padding, turn it back on. Let's see if that worked. No, I don't know. Anyways, that's that. Things are weird. Clearly this guy with his pants issue broke something, but that's gonna about do it. ContentAware Layout's gonna save you a ton of time, especially if you have fun illustrations with padding turned on and responsive resize. But there you go. That was fun. Hope you all enjoyed that lovely blooper in there. I'm going to figure out what the heck just happened and have fun with this. I'm going to be on Discord on and off today, giving feedback in the current challenge channel. Very big mouthful. And I'm going to see you all tomorrow. Stick around in just a few minutes. We've got Kyle Webster coming up with some great drawing and illustration stuff. The guy is a mastermind. Stick around for him, and I will see you all tomorrow.